Tristan, Mike. Okay, so DHCP setup. At the beginning of class, we installed 3 servers, 2 domain controllers and 1 member server. And on that member server, we installed DHCP services. You may not have remembered that, but we did. So if you log into your server 1, server 2, or anything that has server manager loaded and has all 3 servers added into it, you will likely find a yellow exclamation point. Well, the exclamation point's black, but it's inside of a yellow triangle, orangey yellow triangle at the top of the screen. Yes. It's terrible if you don't have one. If you click on all servers, you should have servers 1, 2, and 3 in the list. And you don't have an orange triangle. Who does not have an orange triangle besides Dustin? So I'm going to pause recording and okay, so I'll start recording because apparently over half the class didn't follow directions. Yeah, you right click and add server role on server 3. We'll watch Dustin do it. Yep, adding roles and features. You're going to click through on server 3, and the role that you want to add would be, well, it does say DHCP server installed.
That's what I'm saying. It's like if I click DHCP, it's right there. What is going on over there? I just left.
What did you just do?
Power.
At the bottom, apparently.
Okay, well, if DHCP server is selected, then maybe you went through the install wizard. Go and cancel that. Click your little flag up there at the top, see if there's anything. There's no details. What have you done? Right click on server 3.
Set up, configure DHCP server? You did that?
Go down to refresh because I don't even see DHCP server as a.
You have DHCP on the website?
Yeah.
I think I now maybe know what you've done. Go back to add roles and features. Let's go ahead and click through here again. Next, go all the way to the features. There we go. So on the features, go down to the RSAT tools. Yes, the remote server administration tools. You've already passed it. There you go. Open that up. That should not be grayed out like that. So go to expand out role administration tools and remote. No. So you should have DHCP server tools checked. Why is DNS server tools not checked? That should be checked. Go and open up the ADDS and ADLDS tools. It's the one up top. I don't see how those are not already installed. Oh, that's server 3. Never mind, cancel that. No, go back. Just go back. Go back and select server 1. That's why we're go back. Well, you didn't go back. You hit cancel. Go right click server 1. I don't see DHCP in the list, so add role and features. We'll go ahead and navigate through this on server 1. Now go down and open up. Yeah, wait, cancel that. You need to go past roles. Make sure you don't click anything on roles. Go past roles. Now under features, go down. Expand out the server administration tools. So DHCP server tools is not checked. It should be checked.
Either, I still have a flag. So
that's interesting.
So we don't need it in the server room.
And it's interesting that your print and document services is not checked either.
One's not checked either.
Okay, well, check both of those and we'll go in next and finish this out. Let me double check and see what I got on mine, because those should be installed on mine too. Apparently I don't have those checked on mine either. And I'm still confused on why Dustin doesn't have the red flag, or half of y'all. Must be a bug in the system.
What? Literal
Yep,
cockroach? Or
could be.
we learned that in your class that debugging literally meant getting less.
Yep, I think it was a moth. So if that finished, what's your little flag say up there now?
Installation succeeded.
Sweet. So why don't you log out of your server one? That doesn't log it out. You're being recorded, Dustin. I'm gonna be on YouTube. So right click the start menu and log off. Yes, sign out. And then sign back in. We'll see with server manager reloading. If we have the exclamation point.
Still got nothing.
Works on yours, right, Lucas? All right, well, Dustin, just click on start. No, never mind. Click on tools menu. Go down to DHCP. Go ahead and right click and tell it to add server. Click on the radio button to select server 3. Cool. Now right click on server 3. Go down to all tasks. It doesn't say anything. Okay. Expand out server 3 then apparently. So I don't know why y'all don't have this link. So since some of you don't have the link, we'll all be under DHCP. So we can do it together.
It still gave me the notification. I didn't have
Thinking you almost had to click through that address at one point, that link at one time. I think that's what y'all did. I think you configured because yours is up. I don't know. So I'll do this here the manual way. If you have some green up arrows on yours is already somehow pre-authorized. Because I think either Microsoft did something weird or you did something weird between the first of the semester and now. I don't know. It's really hard to tell which is which. Microsoft does some weird stuff. Also, students do some weird stuff. They see things and click on it. It's like, I don't like this yellow. Let's get it out of the system. But if you got red, you can authorize for DHCP server.
On the IPv4, IPv6.
Just on the server itself. Authorization is something that Microsoft implemented that no other DHCP developers implemented. And it's supposed to only allow this DHCP server to offer addresses. Any other machine that's joined to the domain that you install DHCP services on, if you don't have administrative rights, it should not be able to authorize that system to dump addresses to the screen. But people can plug up just access points and they don't follow the authorization protocol that Microsoft developed for a DHCP server, and they dish out no matter what. Clients are also supposed to only communicate with the DHCP server that's been authorized, but I've not really ever found that to be true. If you plug up anything, it dishes out to computers. So it doesn't work as intended by Microsoft. Nobody else has ever implemented it. So, but you have to authorize it for a Microsoft DHCP server to function. So I hit my F5 key to refresh, and I've got green now. So that's good. Did you hit F5 on your server 3? Still doesn't work. Interesting.
Yeah, I will make an offhand comment about that's not how relationships work.
Sometimes authorization does take a little while. Even with the not authorized, I think we can still create a scope and stuff on it, and it'll finally turn green. So authorizations, just both domain controllers have to realize that, hey, this system's now allowed to do stuff on our network.
It says, if you click on IPv4, it says before the DHCP server can issue, you must create a scope.
Yep. So I need to go ahead and create a scope. So click on IPv4. Let's go ahead and create a new scope. And we got a new scope wizard. It's not as pretty and cool as the server manager wizard that goes through and auto authorizes it and all that cool jazz. But sometimes cool stuff doesn't always work. Scope. Type a name and description for the scope. This information helps you quickly identify how the scope is to be used on your network. Spock. Yeah. Spock's dead, but William Shatner's going to go to space. Hey, that's the headlines today. That's what I'm going to name my scope. Yeah, he got us in Captain Kirk to space before he dies, and he's in his 90s. So We need the overacting. That was Spock made music. I didn't know Shatner made music.
They're terrible.
Yeah, I would imagine. Okay, so when you're creating a scope, it's probably best practice to go ahead and put your whole subnet in that you've got. So we have a /24 subnet. We're 192.168 something. What is our network? .2. Okay, so 2.1 ending address 192.168.2.254. Why didn't I put 255? Why didn't I put 0? Because that's network address and broadcast address, and you don't need that in your range. Now, if we had like a /16 or something like that, so we would do from like 2.1 to 3.254 or something like that. Guess what? It actually can give out 3.0 as an address. I've seen it because it's not a network address. It's like, sweet. Some old clients won't be able to handle a .0 or a .255, but newer clients can. And that's just pretty cool, in my thought. The configuring the DHCP can be done by length or by subnet mask. This can also be a cheat for you for figuring out subnet mask, where you can just hit the up and down arrow key to get your answer to what yours. There's your calculator. I don't know. Do you have a server running in Cisco on a VM? So we'll go ahead and move on. Now we have an exclusion. They're addresses or ranges of addresses that are not distributed by the server. You can also delay in milliseconds an offer. Maybe you have another DHCP server that you want it to offer first, and this is a backup or something. Different reasons why you might want to delay. I've never ever had to set a delay. I just have one server on the network running. The excluded ranges, we don't want these addresses to be dished out. 192.168.2.1, 192.168.2. And I would put probably at least 3 out there since I had server 1, 2, and 3 with static addresses. I'll probably put at least that, but I'm going to go ahead and go all the way to 49 on there. So I'm going to block off all of those addresses because you might want to statically assign things to routers and switches. Possibly. This is one mechanism for that. So you know, of course, this you would need to keep track of in an Excel spreadsheet, something somewhere, what address is to what system. So I'll go and add these in. I picked 1 to 49 on purpose because most of your home routers and stuff, the routers you get off the shelf, well, not, but most of them I've seen start dishing out at 50. And they have a gateway of .1, which allows you to have 2 to 49 as addresses you can statically assign to printers and stuff at your home. So that's why I picked 1 to 49, just randomly, because off the shelf home routers I've seen start dishing out at 50. And that's the reason, so you can have a chunk at the front part. You can statically assign things if you're advanced in networking. So we'll go ahead and move on to next. What did I tell you was the default? 8 days? Does that hold true here?
Yep.
Does. Cool. For mobile networks that consist mainly of portable computers or dial-up, shorter lease durations can be useful. Longer leases may be useful for desktop machines and stable networks. Things don't move around. So, a little description there. We're going to keep it at 8-day lease. Do you want to configure scope options? Normally, a computer needs more than just an IP address and subnet mask. And it's giving you the choice to do that now. Do you want scope options to be configured? What the heck scope options? Things like DNS servers. Yeah, you probably want to configure those. Add the gateway address. I hear people typing. Why? Do you have a router in our network? I have a pfSense firewall connected in to mine, but unless you have a pfSense firewall connected in, and I've already forgot what my pfSense firewall IP address is. I think I put it at 2.5. Unless you've got a router running, we don't have a gateway. This is pretty odd to leave this blank. Most of the time you're going to have a router. So very rare that you won't have one, but in our lab situation, we don't. So we'll just go next and leave it blank. Here we can designate DNS servers and the domain that the clients are going to be on. Well, since this is already an authorized system, it's part of Active Directory, it's kind of already looked at Active Directory and cheated a little bit and filled out the information for you. But if you don't have condelsa.com, or you don't have the 2 DNS servers, then you can add them in. Maybe you want as a backup. Eight. Do you still want to add it? Nah, I guess I won't. So all 8s is Google. There's also 888.87. Easy to remember. Just like the lawyer, dial 8 anywhere in the state for a car wreck or something like that. Personal injury lawyer. I don't know whose that is, but okay, we'll move on to next. Windows Internet Naming Service. Converts NetBIOS computer names to IP addresses. This was for non-internet, even though it was Windows Internet Naming Service, it was pre-internet. NetBIOS workgroup style things that predates DNS server for LAN manager networks and Windows 3.11, maybe some of the 95 systems, although they had DNS back in the day. If you're not going to have any Windows 3.11 computers from the 90s on your network, you should probably not be running a Win server. So we're going to leave this blank. And I don't think there's any point in teaching the different methods that Win's operated at. So we'll just move next. Do you want to activate the scope now? Yeah. So the scope's active. Sweet.
Still not great.
Is it still red? Then right click, go to all task and tell it to stop. And after it stops, then right click and tell it to start. Now they're green.
We're green.
It's been a little bit. You just don't set up DHCP servers all the time. I remembered it stopping and starting it normally fixes the problem, except for,
Normally,
is it Lucas?
Well, I just didn't do that as well. Okay.
Right click on it again, make sure, go ahead and tell it to authorize one more time.
There we go.
Somehow it didn't take your authorization at first.
Maybe. I did that.
Okay, so our scope's up and going. Do we have any address leases? For some reason, my host computer got an address.
Yeah,
Mine did as well.
it's also doing that.
I think it's because the adapter's bridged.
Should be internal. Should not have a bridges adapter.
That's what it said when I looked at the
I have two.
IP, not IP config, but I had adapters and I had 3.
Your server 3 should say internal.
I got a pop up for a second. One that was asking me if I wanted the. Would you like to be discovered?
Server 3 is internal. Server 1 is internal. Server 2 is internal.
So the internal got a DHCP address. So I guess that'll be okay. Wasn't really our intention, but at least it's internal. So we know DHCP is functioning. Let's go look at our client. What is our client doing? So my client's on 49. I can now switch it over to obtain automatically since we have a DHCP server on the network. After clicking OK, I now have duration 7 days. It's getting my countdown. And I've got a 2.51 address.
That says 2.49.
Did you move it off of static? Yeah, if it says 49, you're still got static going on.
No, I have to.
So some of you are having trouble with the adapter settings. I went to Network and Sharing Center because adapter options just, I don't know, doesn't like to work.
Says my lease was obtained 9/36, October 11th. It expires October 19th.
Why?
That's 8 days.
249.
So as I refresh my address leases, I see that my client one's in there.
Let's just sit with DHCP.
The unique ID would be the MAC address. So here we go. Let's learn about reservations. If you have a print device that you want to make sure it gets the right address, it normally has the MAC address on the outside of the box or on the print device itself near the serial number. What you do is you record that down. Sometimes Dell will send you all the MAC addresses too on their invoices in the digital form, so you can just copy them.
What manufacturer does something?
Sometimes. So type out the MAC address, copy it, and we can go into reservations and create a reservation, new reservation. Paste in the MAC address, reservation, Biden's computer.
What's his son's name? Hunter. Hunter Biden.
Hunter's laptop, bought by Dad, the description.
Which one are we copying, the client?
Yeah, we're doing the client's MAC address.
My description says.
This is gonna be on YouTube. We're gonna get fired. Had a government job.
It says Bob on that.
We don't know who these people are. I'm sure there's a lot of Bidens out there that have a son named Hunter.
Really? Absolutely.
Out of 8 billion people in the world,
We're not talking about.
there's probably 100,000 of them.
Our current US president.
And his son, Hunter.
Yeah, this is a completely different situation. Let's go and click add and close. So I have an address lease. I'm going to go ahead and do a IP config / release. Because I want to release that 51 address Now, it looks like Windows 10's already said, I don't like living without an IP address. I'm going to go ahead and rebroadcast since you didn't tell me to renew yet. It shows inactive, but I got in a pip address. If I do a renew, it's going to ask for its old address 51 back, and the server's going to go, no. Please, can I have it? No. Please, no. And after a little while, it's going to give up and decide, okay, well, give me what address you're going to give me. What address did I get? The one I typed in and reserved. Typed in 200 as the reservation. So you're asking how I got the MAC address. Well, I cheated and looked at the original reservation. I scrolled over and looked at the unique ID as the MAC address. That's how I stole it. If you're doing it on the client machine, ipconfig/all gives you the physical MAC address. And it's typed without any dashes or dots or colons. So if you've lost your MAC address, you can bring it up on your client machine. No. Microsoft converts everything to uppercase when it reads it into the system, except for passwords and some other obscure things, but mostly passwords is the only thing that's going to be case sensitive.
Supporting both or just DHCP?
I left it on both. Reservations are for boot P is probably pretty critical because boot P, a machine has no configuration. They're diskless workstations. So boot P protocol is normally used for them. And the mapping a MAC to an IP address because the client can't hold any configuration is typical for those types of setups. So the boot P server will have to use DHCP to give the client an IP address and then also push configuration to it, like what operating system to load. Hence the virtual desktop infrastructure systems that we got.
Issues over here.
That's because it's you two. What issue would you possibly have?
Well, first of all, it's saying the 2.1 flag IPv4 address, but I also didn't put that in the reservation, so I'm very confused. Not to mention, when we first brought up the reservation, we got 4 different things that showed up originally.
What?
I don't see an exclusion range. So the exclusion range didn't take, or else you didn't type the exclusion range.
49, right? Yeah.
So for some reason that didn't take. That's why you have a bunch of bad addresses, because it did what it's supposed to do and tried to ping when a request was made, and it found replies on all of those. So it auto reserved those as bad addresses because they're pre-used.
for plan, so you put the 192.168.2.200. Not let me do that.
So .5, you should have done 50 or 200.
Yeah.
So
I was
dot
feeling
five.
something else at that point, which maybe a little away from what we're doing.
What?
What worked through that, Gordon? The previous step, I don't know, raised when I pressed the flipping button.
Okay, so give it a name, give it the double check your MAC address on your client one. So go to client one, leave that up. But yeah, you should be able to click Ethernet there and click details. So your physical address 0015. You can't copy it. 00115D01110A. Okay, so that looked good. So you should be able to type that in your server.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Don't help Lucas at this point.
Yay, okay, now go to your client and we'll do a do an IP config / release. Not lease, release. IP config / renew.
Class. You're overweight. Yeah, over 30.
So any computer that you reserve like that, like I said, normally you get printers and stuff, and that's you would routers, switches, and things. You can lease them before. Just tell them just use DHCP. And then they'll always get the address.